Welcome, everyone. Uh, Hi, my name is Gonzalo Ornelas. It's truly a pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Thank you for joining us for session one of our four-part Sip and Share series tonight. Tonight, we'll be featuring Genever, an absolute powerhouse combination. The three UCLA alumni took the leap so many years ago and are now the owners of the limitlessly empowering bar that offers a taste of the three owners' Filipino heritage. With us tonight are Roselma Samala, Christine Sumiller, and Patricia Perez, also known as the Red Capes Partners. This year's Sip and Share aims to build an empowered network of women that choose to uplift alumni. When we created the focus points for the series, it was important for us to cover the optimism, creativity, and innovation because we wanted to very clearly emphasize that this event isn't just about breaking through the glass ceiling, but instead realizing it's about building something from the bottom using the amazing qualities of our alumni that they have within themselves already. Qualities that allow them to be independent and still incredibly successful. With that being said, I'd like to introduce Associate Vice Chancellor, Julie Cena.
Thank you so much, Gonzalo. And Bruins, we're so thrilled to be together tonight, even if it's only in this virtual space. To begin, as Gonzalo just talked about, a month where we're really going to lift up and celebrate our alumni and the businesses they have built and the stories that built them. So we're so grateful to start tonight with Genever. I remember talking to the three of you when this was just an idea on campus. And I had the opportunity to sit in this beautiful space with my good friend, Sally Lou, who's also, I know, on this call tonight. But before we jump into this, I also want to honor the history of the alumni who have done significant programming and conferences over the years. And it's you that we're honoring and try to rebuild and lift up these programs yet again. We started in 2015 when Patricia Nguyen and Ashley Love Smith built the TEDx Women as one of our first steps in this direction. Then we had our Women in the C-Suite, and I'm looking at three women in the C-Suite on this screen. Continued that theme, and then our alumni conference. And we didn't come together last year because, as we all know, that we were on the verge of, or I think at the time, it was March, so it was Women's History Month. But we decided not to sit back this year, because there are so many stories to celebrate and to lift up and to light up this incredible month with Bruin stories, because that's what we do for each other, right? We lift each other up, we learn from each other, we celebrate each other, and we really help each other along our journey. So I want to thank the three of you for launching us tonight and building up what I know will be a terrific month that will extend even longer in terms of celebrating our alumni. So thank you. Thank you so very much. And thank you, Gonzalo and Sandy, for your leadership, and Patricia for bringing these programs together. So back to you, Gonzalo. Let's get this started.
All right, well, before we dive into the session, I would like to first acknowledge that we are the UCLA Alumni Association. As the UCLA Alumni Association, we acknowledge our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. If you'd like to learn more about why we recite this land grant acknowledgement at the beginning of our event, you can take a look at the link in the chat. I'd also like to remind you to all remember that the chat is a good way to share ideas, information, to say I agree, or to simply give a thumbs up. With that being said, I'd also like to remind everybody to please abide by our UCLA's principles of community as we share ideas. All right, everybody, now that we've covered the basics, I'd like to pass the conversation over to our Director of Strategic Engagement, Sandy Nguyen, who will be your moderator for the evening.
All right. Thank you, Gonzalo, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. My name is Sandy Nguyen, and I am the Director of Strategic Engagement at UCLA Alumni. I'm honored to be here with you tonight and introduce you to our Bruin-owned business, Genever. I'm a 2010 graduate of UCLA and the degree in anthropology, go Anthrop majors, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. We have three amazing alumnae with us tonight, Roselma, Tinette, and Tricia. All Bruins, and together they are the proud owners of Genever. I've had the pleasure of visiting this beautiful bar when it first opened, and recently I swung by to pick up their cocktails to go, which is absolutely divine. It's like walking into a 1920s jewelry box. This cocktail bar is just so beautiful. You can see it in my background here. There's just so much attention to detail in the design. We'll go over that with them and how they reach that design aesthetic. And who doesn't enjoy sitting in a beautiful cocktail bar and imbibing a delicious drink with their best girlfriends? Let's meet the three women behind the design and behind the name, and who truly embody the spirit of this series with their optimism and their creativity and innovation. So Roselma, Tinette, and Trisha, I'd love for you to introduce yourselves and tell us how the three of you reached the idea of owning a bar together, since you've been friends at UCLA. And how did UCLA impact you today?
Hello, and first of all, thank you for having us on to kick off the series of panels here. Yes, we're all proud Bruins, and trying to represent today with my John Wooden t-shirt. This actually all started on January 1st, New Year's Day, 2013. Um, since we've met each other, we actually have been celebrating New Year's Eve together, and typically it means a sleepover somewhere. And that fateful night of New Year's Eve 2012, we ended up staying at Trisha's house. And on January 1st, 2013, we woke up to the new year, and as we usually do, start chit-chatting. And we thought about putting a business together, really taking the reins as far as control over finances and just economics, and really going into business for us, for ourselves. And we thought, what should we do? Well, Roselma said, they said that you should do things that you love to do together, as we were sipping mimosas early morning of January 1st. And so we thought, oh, why not open a bar? And ever since then, we actually did get together every Tuesday since then, to put together a plan. We started with our business plan and try to figure out how to make this dream a reality.
That's awesome. I think the three of you are hashtag goals for a lot of women. I think a lot of women want to go into business with their best friends. I have a group of female friends I think are amazing people, and I would love to go into business with them. When was that tipping point? Can you describe that tipping point to us, when the idea actually became an action?
It had to happen really fast, because funny enough, we went into a competition for a business plan soon after, and actually won in 2013, right when we thought that we would get together. I don't know if you heard Roselma, but she was like, it was like having a study session back at UCLA all over again, because we were religiously meeting on Tuesdays. And it's very hard to think that you're meeting every week for something that you don't know, that you could tangibly have. But honestly, it had to happen right away. That tipping point you're asking, it was right at 2013, because from there, I think it was like a good boost, right? That we won this business plan contest, and then from there, because it actually, there's a long process to even get a permit, to even get a liquor license. We had to start right away, and we started looking for places to open this bar right away. And for us, we are all in a different profession. None of us are in this professionally, and so we knew that our learning curve would be really steep. So we knew that once we decided, we were going to go all the way.
That definitely took a lot of fortitude and to get over some of those hurdles. This series is about optimism and creativity and innovation. So how do those things play in your journey to launching Genever?
So that was a great question. And I'm Roselma, by the way. I wish we had like a little pop-up, like who we are. For me, optimism came about because, like, one thing that I tell people is that if you ever want to test your patience, open a bar. Because you needed that patience along with the hope to know that, like, at the end of this, this long process. And I think it took us 2 years to get our license. Like you just have to be optimistic that it's going to be there, and at the end of it, it's going to be what you imagine it to be. So, it was, you really had to have this vision of what you want to come out of it and stick to it. So, like, just trying to be hopeful that this is what's going to happen and that your dream is going to come true. You have to have that optimism. You can't give up that hope.
Speaking about vision, the cocktail bar is quite a vision, and we'd love to actually see the design of your establishment. So can you give us a little tour, spin us around, show us all the little design details that you've all put into this work of art?
Give us a moment.
Yeah.
We're gonna flip the camera. Okay, so the first thing that actually that we have is the mural, and so this is kind of key to key to how Genever came about, because if you look, if you're here in person, and actually it's really rare for our lights to be fully open, but you'll see different names in the in her feathers.
Oh, wow.
So those names represent people that contributed to our Kickstarter, and all friends, family, and even people that we didn't know, but who believed in our vision and in what we wanted to do. And so we also had an alumni, Emily Kaisip, do it as well, who's a good friend of ours. And so she handmade this. But this is key to, I think, our business of incorporating the community, of collaborating with each other. There's a lot of Bruins on this wall. and the color of it, the gold, also sort of symbolizes what we're about, because if you look at all the lighting fixtures, and if you look at our roof, it's all about 20s glam, great Gatsby, a gilded area of where we're celebrating life, and unexpected occurrences, surprises. We have also with our lighting, it's all recycled glass, which is also something that we wanted to incorporate. So we wanted to build a modernized speakeasy that celebrated life, that wasn't afraid to drink. When you also look at our space, it's all about, it's an open lounge and an open concept, because we want everyone to feel welcomed here. That's a big part of who we are, is the hospitality that we offer. We offer that accessible glamour, and that anybody is able to feel good about who they are. We're just open to everyone. We're very, we're accepting of everybody. And that's kind of part of our design, is to have that open concept, to feel like a living room, but to be luxe and celebratory, and not be afraid of drinking.
Did one of you take more of a lead on the design?
No, I feel like it was all of our perspectives. Trisha, who is holding the camera, she led the process with our interior designer and architect. But it was really, we're very, what's the word, aligned, like synchronous with what our aesthetic is and how we envision this place to be.
And you mentioned community and always keeping that as a part of your business? I mean, everything from Red Cookies Partners, like keeping your heritage in that name, and where you're actually located is pretty significant too. Can you speak a little bit about where you're located?
Sure. Should we go back to? So, yeah, we'll do another quick as we're walking.
Okay.
But we're located in historic Filipinotown, and we are 3 Filipino women who actually met through Samahang at UCLA. But this is just like one of our nooks, or like our private area, and we kind of we like this because Red Capiz, which is actually a shell from the Philippines. So we try to incorporate our heritage not only in our business name, but also in our cocktails. Being in historic Filipinotown was important to us because we're able to really kind of build that story of who we are. And in our cocktails, we offer Filipino flavors. It's our way of sharing our heritage and our culture through flavor, and expressing to people like who we are, what's part of our identity, that combination of the Filipino and the American through a cocktail. And we do, whenever we drink, this is usually where we meet when we were open to the public. We would meet still every Tuesday, but in the bar. And we made these special, or we found these coasters, which is made out of Red Capiz, as just something to remind us and ground us into like the original vision of why we started this company together.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Do those coasters ever walk away? Like, they're really pretty.
Only ones that use it.
Well, thank you so much for that lovely tour. Once it's safe for us to all be together again, I hope all the viewers out there in Facebook Live land, all get a chance to experience this gem located in the heart of Los Angeles in person. I don't think the Zoom cameras really truly capture how beautiful this place is. So a few more questions for you. Genever, it's a Dutch gin from my research and my understanding. Why did you choose the name Genever, and why focus on gin? I know it's a full bar, and you guys carry much more than just gin. You also carry beer and wine. But why the big focus on gin?
This is Trisha. Hi everyone. Hello there, good humans. We wanted to highlight gin because we felt it was the underdog in this context. And we also saw at the time when we were, gathered together at that, that New Year's Day on 2013, we saw a really great opportunity because gin wasn't being highlighted in a lot of establishments. So, just using our UCLA backgrounds of education and seeing the opportunity, we applied what we know from what we learned from our university and our personal backgrounds, and we just thought that there was a treasure to be discovered there and to really take off.
Thank you. You all came from different industries you mentioned before. I think one of you came from IT, another one came from like hospitality and then finance. How did this diverse skill set help you as business owners?
This is Tanette or Christine. When push came to shove, as far as negotiating, I think that was when it was most helpful too. As women, more so as Asian women, we're smaller in stature, and I think that plays a part in how negotiations run sometimes. And but because we've had our part in each of our industries in negotiating with people, it was really helpful for us to really lay down our agenda and then go through, that agenda when it came down to, face to face. It was really helpful, I thought, especially because, so Trisha is in IT, and Roselma is in philanthropy, and I am in finance. And in each of those industries, you come into or experience different types of people and also have to negotiate all differently too. And for us, I think it was really helpful, especially when we had to negotiate things like the lease, and also dealing with construction, where, as you know, it's male dominated, and having to put our foot down really, even with design, really, and having to make sure that our vision came through for the bar.
Can I add? So we're not just limited to the 3 industries that you asked about. So beyond that, we're also involved in our other personal volunteer work, or like for myself, I've had owned businesses before that, so I consider myself to be a serial entrepreneur. Like I said, they're volunteer work, but like all 3 of us have our own businesses outside of Genever. I just want to point that out. Bragging rights, because as women, we don't get to brag enough of our accomplishments. We always kind of just, sometimes, we just want to be proud. So that's why I want to point that out, that in addition to Genever, and in addition to our backgrounds, like we bring in all our experiences before, like volunteer, community work, all that. It really definitely plays into what Tinette was saying about like having a seat at the table when we're negotiating, because the people on the other side of that table, they have already an assumption of us and a stereotype because we're Asian American women, because of our heights, or maybe just the way we look. So we can use that to our advantage. So that's like,
That's what I was saying. Yeah. And I just want to add to like Tinette mentioned that I'm from the philanthropy field, which is like working with nonprofits, working with the community. And I think that really helped with our like approach to getting our license, because we needed public approval. And like we learn from our community, brothers and sisters of the organizers, of how we can get, educate the community that we're going to be coming in, especially with, gentrification being, not being seen very positively. We wanted people to know that we care about this community, that we have, some roots to the community, a lot through UCLA actually, because we volunteered here at SIPA, which is like 2 blocks away from us. And, we had like a community meeting where we had like an open house at SIPA and invited community members so that we can address whatever questions that they had and identify what issues there might be, so that we addressed it in our community plan, addressed it in our business plan, and in working with the city as well. And, I'll just also say that, like, I think it was, it was from our time at UCLA, I was very active with the retention center. Mandala and Tim, like when, I don't know if Tim is still there, I think Mandala is still there, but like through the retention center, through AAP, like all that good, the good stuff, they taught us, if you, don't be limited to what's there. Like if there's a job that you want, don't be afraid to create it for yourself. And I think that's also what motivated us. Hearing those voices, hearing that encouragement, that we're not limited to what's known, that we can create something new.
That's the UCLA way. I love that you still hold that near and dear. I do have another question here. So given this fortitude that you have and this optimism you have for your business, can you talk about the challenges and opportunities actually over the past year and what has kept you going through them?
I think that, you know, when it came down to the pandemic, it hit us right away because we were celebrating our 2-year anniversary, and then we shut down the next day. So it was from like a super high to all of a sudden shut down. What do we do now? And we had to, and everyone's favorite word, right, pivot right away into how we could transform this space where people walk in, spend time, sit down in here as if it's their own living room. How do we transform that and that feeling, and then have that same feeling at home, in the safety of their own home? So, we created the Cocktails to Go program, and we're actually in the middle of one right now, where people are picking up. So if there's a lot of noise, that would be why. And where we have put together cocktails that they can enjoy at home. And in the very beginning, it was very challenging because with things shut down and not really knowing how long we would be shut down, as a business owner, you're not going to buy more product and create more things. So we had to create cocktails from the stock that we had, which was also fun and created the opportunity for thinking outside the box. And more thinking outside the box was created because we thought, okay, what else can we do? So we started virtual classes. And this is not something that is new to us per se, because we have been doing classes for, corporations, et cetera, big groups. Only they were always face to face. But this time around, we had to transition into a virtual space and then figure out all the logistics of that, right? How to get these kits to these, different people in their own homes, and be able to create a process through Zoom. And then another one was, you asked about opportunities. A lot of businesses were actually born out of COVID, right? And one of them is a business called Table 22. And they allowed for us to actually implement something in our business plan from 2013 that we could never figure out how to do at the very moment, being in the midst of just running the bar. And that is subscriptions. So they actually reached out to us, and we were happy to partner with them so that we could implement a subscriptions plan for cocktails and for also gin flights. And so we continued with our mission to provide, cocktails that embodied our culture, creativity, but also educate about gin. And so, those three came out of the pandemic. And then finally, we actually opened a retail space online. It's called Boutique at Genever. And so we actually offer items that you can enjoy at home to represent perhaps, the feeling of being at Genever, or, anything that will just make you feel good at home.
I love the instructions that all the cocktails to go come with, because it just makes it so easy. And I feel like, my own little craft cocktails mixologist in my own home. So love bringing Genever into the home. That's a great way to do it. Well, now that Genever is either 3 or approaching 3 years old, a little toddler age, what are some things you wish you knew before starting the business?
I could take that question. Ah, boys. Well, some of the things that we wish we knew more about this particular business was, as much research as you can do, as much as you can talk to people to gather as many information or resources. you know, as life can do with, for example, this pandemic, there will be curveballs. And I think if with the intention of flexibility, patience, and understanding, coupled with, um, just motivation, even when you're not motivated, what we wish we learned, packaging all that with the curveballs is that here, for example, one thing that we wish we knew more was about buildings, structure, and how that can affect your timeline. As much as we've all been like had experience with remodeling or renovation or construction or tenant improvements or whatever, that's just one example. Just no matter what, like when you demo a wall, you start demoing a wall, no matter what, you will never know what surprise awaits you. And there's always something to learn. Yeah. So I don't know if that kind of answers your question, but that's just one major thing. And then the other thing that we definitely did not think we would ever have to learn is how to survive in a pandemic. Hello.
Yeah.
Never, like for me, and I hope I can speak for my beloved sisters here, and as well as everybody out there tuning in to this session. I mean, I never imagined in my entire life I would be going through this. It's such a historic event,
Yeah.
and something like this global and collective experience is completely forcing us on an individual and group level, a community level, to make us come out of our comfort zone. It's like, even though like it's making us stay at home, that's kind of, there's many layers of thought about that, but it's really bringing us out of our comfort zone. And because of that, it is really shoving you into innovation or forcing you to have to innovate. That's just for everybody. How you run your home life, how you run your business, how you run your work life. I mean, it's across the board. But everyone on each level has to innovate. Like, how are you gonna go shopping? How are you gonna buy stuff? How do I eat? It's just
It's staying in the uncomfortable helps you
Yeah.
really think of new pathways and new ways to do things and like you said, innovate and try something new, like you have done with Genever. So we're gonna get ready for a little drink demo, but another question that we have is, you mentioned that you keep a lot of the community and your heritage in all aspects of the business and the design, and that's really a piece of the inspiration and where the drive comes from. What about any personal inspirations? Are there any people in your life who are your mentors or an inspiration for you that is kind of like your North Star, your guiding light?
Is that for all of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to answer for everyone.
Well, the first person that came to my mind, which may be a cliche, is just Oprah. Just what she's been able to build, her accomplishment, and how open she is, like with her life story and the challenges that she's faced. I'm a big like Super Soul listener, her podcast. And I just appreciate it so much because she can hit it at any level, at the business level, the spiritual level, the physical health level, just like, like um, like she is a living embodiment, I think, of what we can accomplish.
I think if all the viewers can help us right now and do like a social media storm on Oprah's channels right now and get Genever featured on maybe OWN or the magazine, that would be great.
be so awesome. That'd be awesome.
Thanks, Candy.
What about you, Tanette, and what about you, Trisha?
You know, you mentioned North Star, and I have to think back to when we actually did our Kickstarter. You know, leading up to the Kickstarter, all we did was post about the women in our lives. And, you know, you'll see if you look back to our old feeds on Instagram, old pictures of our Lolas. Lola is grandma in Tagalog. Our Lolas on both sides, our moms. And, you know, when you say North Star, immediately I think of my mom. I'm going to cry. Yeah, so, and, you know, she also is an embodiment of a superwoman. She was a single mom for the longest time, you know, brought us here when I think our life could have probably been easier in, you know, in the Philippines. But, you know, she wanted to be with her parents here. So, you know, starting all over with 2 young kids is not easy in America. I would say, you know, we're probably more blessed just because we already have family here. By the time we immigrated, you know, it was great to have grandparents here already, but it's still uprooting from where you came from and what she was used to, what we were used to. And, you know, and she was always supportive of us doing this. And it's a big endeavor because, like I said, even if Trisha was in hospitality already, a full liquor bar in Los Angeles is a whole different story. And so, you know, we got a lot of support from her and, you know, from the women in our lives. And so it was a great blessing to know that, you know, I came from a foundation of also entrepreneurship, and that we knew that no matter what, we could get through it and that we were supported.
Thank you. Strong women learn from other strong women, right? What about you, Trisha?
I get inspiration from unsung heroes. I'll name 2. One is the immigrants, the people who immigrate here from other countries and other countries. And one thing that comes to mind is, you know, like those individuals who it's part of the LA landscape, you know, like the lady selling the bacon wrapped hot dogs with her little cart. That's a small business owner, right? Or someone who sells the flowers by the side of the freeway, or fruit, you know, those bag of navel oranges. Really not big. Well, that's one. And then small business owners in general, you know, the struggle is real because you have to compete with these larger corporations who have because of their deep pockets, they're able to access deeper discounts, deeper layers to like in terms of negotiation.
Open a bar faster.
Yeah, they can they just move things a lot faster. But the small business owner, they may not necessarily have that access, and they are my inspiration. If anything, that's like what's connected to the women in our lives. We all have women in our lives who are entrepreneurs or have that entrepreneurial spirit. So we hope to carry that torch on, especially with Genever. Those are my specific inspirations for this.
That resilience and that perseverance like really shines through all of you, and thank you for sharing who your inspirations are and your mentors. If we can actually switch over to the demo now, I know everyone's been kind of waiting to see a cool drink demo. While you're setting up, I'll let everyone know what my favorite drink at Genever is. It's called the New Benini Place. I love a good citrusy drink with some fun fruit notes, and the color is so pretty. It's like this kind of light coral pink. And the mini is a woman-made gin is if that's, I think that's what I looked up. So it seems that even through the gins that you purchase, it's important that you find as many like women-owned businesses to work with as possible as well. So they're getting set up right now. There's a lot of movement at Genever because it's also an open business right now for pickup. So people are coming in and out to grab their to-go and their drinks and their food. And I wanted to ask, actually, do each of you have a favorite drink that you make, and are you competitive about them? You're on mute, by the way.
Sandy?
Can
Yeah.
you repeat the question?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, of course. Do each of you have a favorite drink, and are you competitive about them?
We have a favorite. We each have a favorite drink or two.
Or two?
But competition, nah.
Always supportive.
We just love to just vibe together.
Well, thank you so much for answering all my questions. Let me see here. Are there any in the chat here? There are a couple more. How do you find balance? So as you're getting ready to make a drink, like last question, how do you find balance?
How do we find balance? Wow. Okay. Very carefully and a moment at a time. So finding balance means, regardless of the quantity of tasks and projects and ventures that you or we decide to undertake, what will really ground us is like self-care. I cannot stress that enough. Making time for self-care. I know that's a buzzword, and it's even more heightened now with with health and wellness. I mean, it really is health and wellness. If we don't take care of ourselves, we are not able to take care of others and serve others. You know what really hit home for me was someone had mentioned that to be able to serve others and take care of others, you have to be in tip-top shape. So that's where the balance is like. So how do we get into tip-top shape? We have to find what we enjoy, and we have to have rest. Rest is important. So, but in terms of self-care, this is self-care. So,
as my boss likes to say, rest is radical too.
I mean, of course, self-care, but moderation too.
Well, you gotta keep yourself in check so you can keep other things in check.
Like just enough to like keep it going.
There you go. Okay, so what are you demoing for us right now, and what should people have in their home right now if they wanted to do the demo with you?
Okay, wow, we have buko groni. So buko is coconut, right? And that's it. It's our specific take, a Genever take on the Negroni, the classic Negroni. So a lot of out there, like you see here, we have our Campari, our sweet vermouth, and then our choice of gin, which is Bimini. And then of course you have your pretty rocks glass with your lovely ice cube. And then without further ado, we can definitely get into it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so today with our, don't forget your tools. So your stirring spoon. Yes, it is this. You can just have your spoon at home, and then you're measuring. Oops. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start with the coconut infused Campari, which is this one. It's this lighter. We're gonna have 0.75, and this. No, I'm sorry. There's something in here.
That's your gin. That's your gin.
Well, it's supposed to be okay. Let's do the gin first. And then we're gonna do 0.75 of the Campari. So you're just gonna measure it in here. So we're gonna just take a look here.
Now we do have a question from the audience. What gins do you recommend? I know you have the Bimini there. Is that your favorite?
For me, yes, that's my favorite because it just goes along with a lot of. That's one of my favorites. I have many. I have many favorites, but this is one of mine. My personal favorite.
Bimini.
So Roselma and Tanette can share what their favorites are, but this is one of my go-tos. I know.
Yeah, Bimini is also a woman distilled company. And when you come into our space, on our menu, we usually highlight with the women's symbol, the Venus symbol, like what is woman owned or what is woman run, woman distilled. And it's something that we do try to emphasize,
That's
to
awesome.
highlight. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites is probably, I don't know. So many.
All your favorites. They're all
Those
your
are my favorites.
favorites. All right, keep going, Trisha. What's next?
Okay, then the vermouth, 0.75. And then we're just gonna give it a loving stir. Give it energy of joy and pleasure and all that, you know, just
Pour all the goodness into it.
just put your back into it, which I'm not doing. There we go. Gotta get a momentum. The block of ice.
So really just about 3 ingredients, huh?
Yeah, for this one, we're the buco grande. The thing about the Campari that we're using, it's coconut infused.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, that's thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Someone wanted to know, Amber from our live viewers here wanted to know, are you planning to continue your cocktails once we get back in person and to continue people bringing this into their homes and keeping that going?
I believe as part of our, our this motif of creativity, optimism, and innovation, it's definitely something to want to continue, something we would like to continue. We want to know operationally how that's going to look like, and how to balance things out. But one of the things that one lesson learned with this, with the current state of the world is that, diversifying your business lines and then your flexibility and openness to different resources and even your own like your own skill to be able to adapt, to be able to accommodate for that. So with that said, yes,
Yeah.
as long as we can handle it operationally.
How will you celebrate once we're back in person? Like, how are you going to celebrate at the bar? So you're going to do the 3-year birthday party?
We are going to celebrate out loud. But in terms of the 3-year birthday party, that's coming up in a couple of weeks. That's March 13th. We'll be sending out an Eventbrite. Everyone's welcome. It's a virtual celebration. So we invite everybody here and more to come.
Awesome. We'll make sure to get that out to all our viewers as well.
March 13th at 3:13 p.m.
March 13th, 3:13 p.m. Everyone mark your calendars. And follow Genever on Instagram. I'm sure that's where you'll be pushing out the information in addition to Eventbrite. I just want to say thank you to the 3 of you so much for joining us tonight and for answering all our questions and entertaining our audience for this Friday evening, a cold, chilly Friday evening. Yeah, it was such a pleasure to be with 3 UCLA alumni and to actually kind of get an insider look at the bar and how the business was built and your own lives. And Tanette, I'm sorry for making you cry. But yeah, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm gonna kick it back to Gonzalo.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah. Go Bruin.
Well, Thank you for that. I can't tell you how closely I was paying attention to that drink demo so I can memorize it all. So one more thing I'd love to ask you all is how can we all of us, including the viewers, like best support you guys?
Well, I thank Sandy for reminding us because we're pretty bad about promoting like our social media. But yeah, please follow us on social media. Subscribe to our newsletter. But we are doing a subscription, a monthly subscription, and that'd be awesome if people can subscribe to that. It gives us a sustainability that we can count on, not just for the products, but just also giving a schedule to our staff. Through our website, you can also order the cocktails to go. We do it every 2 weeks. And we have a different food partner every 2 weeks. So we try to highlight different types of foods. For March, we're going to be promoting women-owned food businesses. We have Cuento LA for our anniversary, but we're also going to be working with Porridge and Puffs on the second one in March. If you're looking to plan a happy hour with your company, or with a reunion, or if you're supposed to have a wedding but can't do it anymore live and want to give cocktails, we can also figure that out with you too. So there's just a lot of different aspects. Did I forget anything? Okay.
I just want to thank you all one more time for coming, and thank you to Genever, Sandy, and everybody who was a part of it.